Hello and welcome to the e-learning video for the Simcyp Report Assistant version 21. The Report Assistant is a Word plugin to help in writing PBPK reports. In this video we're going to show some of the features available in the Report Assistant to help in adding tables and graphs to any reports you might need. The Report Assistant can be loaded using the Options menu in Microsoft Word and can be accessed from the Add-ins pane. From here we can go to Manage COM Add-ins and using these checkboxes select the Simcyp Report Assistant. The Simcyp Report Assistant works using database files which can be generated using the Simcyp Simulator. Currently the Report Assistant is compatible with databases generated in both version 20 and 21 of the Simcyp Simulator. Your database can be opened here using the Open Results Database button. From here we can select our desired database and hit Open. We can also open Observed Data Files using this button here and then opening it in the same way. The Report Assistant uses Observed Data Files which can be generated using the Simcyp Excel plugin. There are several tables available which may be useful for your reports, and these can be accessed using these buttons here. The first one I'm going to show you is the table of inputs, and then this brings up this pane on the right, and from here we can select the database to extract our data from and the compound, and then once we hit Insert, this generates a table of inputs which gives detail into the values for all the input parameters that are available in the compound and that has been used in the simulation to generate the database, in this case rosiglitazone. The second table is the table of trial design. Once we press this table of trial design button, this brings up this pane on the right again, and again we can choose our database and compound. And once we press Insert, this gives us a table giving details into the setup of the trial design in the simulation which was used to generate the database. The third table is the table of dosing regimen. This can be accessed here, and using the same two buttons we can choose the compound from which the dosing regimen we would like to display here, and this will give us detail into the compound name, the route of dosing, the dose, and the day start time and the dosing regimen for that particular compound. The next option I'm going to show you is the results pane. This can be accessed using this button, and this brings up the results options. So from here we can select our database and our profile. There are many different profiles available in the Report Assistant, and the full list is available in the help file which can be found here. We can also choose the concentration units and the time units from which we would like our results to be output, and also the plasma concentration. In this select parameters box we can choose the parameters we would like to output in our tables and graphs, and there are a whole different range of options available. We can also, in the case of multiple dose simulations, we can choose whether we would like to output the first dose, the last dose, or a specific dose, where this end dose, the value entered in this box corresponds to the number of doses. We can also choose to output the AUC to tau for the user-defined interval, and this can be set up using the Simcyp Simulator in the data analysis pane. So the first option available to us is the table of summary statistics, and in here we have the option to output tables as either mean, median, or geometric mean. We can also define the decimal places and choose whether we would like to display our values in scientific notation or not. And once that's selected, so here we've selected AUC and Cmax, we can press Insert, and this will give us a table giving details of the values for the AUC and Cmax for each trial in our simulation, as well as the mean for the population. Using an example report, I'm going to now show you the graph of trial statistics option. So in this tab, you can again choose the statistical method from which you would like your results to be output, and this could be mean and standard deviation, median and percentiles, and you can define the percentiles using these two boxes here, the geometric mean and confidence intervals, and you can also choose to show the population statistics and upper and lower limit lines, which you can define using these two boxes here. Using this overlay observed data checkbox, we can then access this drop-down menu, and this will allow us to choose to overlay any observed data we might have onto our graph, which is output once we've selected our desired options. And we can also choose the range for our y-axis. This can be either the simulation output or a user-defined range we may wish to use. And once we press insert, this will give us a graph similar to this, which we have the trial statistics for Tmax. The third option available to us is the concentration profile. In this pane, we can select whether we would like to output the mean, median, or the geometric mean. We can also choose to display the profile with interaction should we be simulating a DDI. And we can also choose to display trial profiles and percentiles on the profile. And we can also choose to overlay observed data by clicking this box here and selecting the drop-down menu, and the percentiles which we wish to use should we press this display percentiles checkbox. In the y-axis options, we can define whether we would like linear, log, or a logarithmic scale on the y-axis, and you can also select both of these, in which case a plot for linear and log will both be output. We can also select the decimal places and whether we wish to use scientific notation. And using these two these radio buttons here, we can also decide whether we wish to define the ranges on our y and x axes. And once we are happy with our settings from this pane, pressing insert gives us a plot something like this. And here you can see we've chosen to display the trial profiles and the percentiles, as well as overlay observed data. And we have a plot with both linear and logarithmic scale. The next option available is the percentage FMFE, which gives us a pie chart of the fraction metabolized and excreted for the compound we're extracting the data from. In this pane, we can again choose whether we wish to display the mean, median, or geometric mean contribution, and there are also additional options to display the percentage contribution on the chart or in the legend. As you can see here, we've chosen to display the percentage contribution in the legend using the mean contribution to the metabolic clearance of our compound. The next option is the insert statistic parameter. And here we can choose whether we wish to insert the standard deviation, the median and percentiles, or the geometric mean and confidence intervals, as well as the CV. And selecting these options allows us to output the AUC and Cmax from our simulation, as well as the CV in text format. The next option is the predicted population parameters. In this case, we can choose to output a table of regional PEFMAN values should ADAM be selected in the simulation which we generate our database from, and also a table of tissue plasma partition coefficients. And again, the options available to output these are mean, median, and geometric mean. So if we press mean and press insert, this gives us a table of our tissue to plasma partition coefficients. The final option available to us is the table of simulated versus observed statistics. And in this table, we can select the parameters we wish to output using this drop down here again. So we'll keep with AUC and Cmax. And then we can choose whether we wish to display our results as mean, median, or geometric mean. And we can also choose to output Tmax as median should we wish, and overlay any observed data we have by selecting this checkbox and choosing our observed data from the drop-down menu. And hitting insert will give us this table where we have the simulated AUC and Cmax and our trial range, and the observed data and trial range for our Cmax is also available from our observed data file. And the S/O gives us our predicted over observed ratio, which is calculated for you.
Hello, my name is Harry and I'm going to be giving you an overview of the rest of the functions in the Report Assistant tool. First up, I'll show you the multiple studies table, and I'll be showing you an example here of where it can be used. So right here, I have an example from one of our compound summaries that we produced using the Report Assistant tool. So for when we want to show how the compound performs against multiple different studies and their observed values, we can use this multiple studies tool to produce a table just like this. Now, in order to do that, we need database results from the simulations run based off each of these studies. So I will open those up now. So I have my databases here. I can just open them all. And I also need to open my observed files. So these are XML files from using the Simcyp plugin for observed data. So I have them here. I have my two DDIs, observed files right here. Then I open them up as well. At the top here, you can see we have Simcyp reporting, and I've clicked on the multiple studies to input this table. And we want to produce one that looks just like this. So what I'm going to do first is select the parameters I want to show. So in this one, I want the AUC ratio and the Cmax ratio. So I'll select them both. I'm taking the plasma concentration, so I'm having this drop down, and I want to be taking it from the last dose, so I select that here. And I'm going to be taking the mean. So what you'll see is you'll have this mock study in here, and you can select your database, your observed data, and you want to select the files. So in order to build this table from the summary, I'll show you what we have to do. So the study we have in here, we want to make sure that it's named the same as what the study name is in our XML file. That is so the report assistant can then pull the right observed value from your XML file. So for example, we have it here. First of all, we want Pinchero et al. So the best thing to do is just to copy from your Excel file and then paste it into your table. We'll do that for the rest of them now. Okay, now we have all of the studies input in here. We can now select what database we want. As I showed, we uploaded all of our databases, so they should all appear in this drop down here. All you have to do is match the correct database to the study. Okay, now that I have put in the correct databases for each one, I can now just link them to our observed data file and select the substrate. when selecting the substrate, it will read your database file that you've input here in order to give you your options. Once you are happy that you've selected everything and that you are taking the correct value, you just hit Insert. And once it is finished loading, you should have a table just like this. I'm now going to show you the update functionality tool from Simcyp Report Assistant. So at the top here, you've got the ability to update charts and tables. And what's new is being able to update these multi-study tables. So, for example here, I've accidentally used the same database for my 2 studies in this table, whereas one should be different. So it's just as simple as building your multi-study tables. All you do is go to your drop-down for your database, change it to the correct one, and then make sure you select the right compound again. And once you hit update, the table will then update for you. This saves you from having to delete and re-input tables. Another tool of the Report Assistant is that it can be used to include a quick description of methods Simcyp use in simulating certain values. For example, say if you were producing a report where you had used a compound that used the NPAG model, you'd go to our Simcyp reporting version 21, click on descriptions, and here we have a list of descriptions that we can input for you, and you're using a compound whilst using our NPAG model. You'd simply select this, hit insert, and it would come with a quick description here. This can be done for any of the following here. In this section, we'll be overlooking the Settings tab for the Simcyp Report Assistant. So once you go to your Simcyp Reporting tab here, you can open up Settings, and they are split into 3 main setting groups. You have your table settings, your chart settings, and your profile formatting. I have 3 examples on this page to show you why you might want to change the settings and how you would go about that. Our first example is a pie chart of the percentage FM/FE. Now for this one, I want to change the font and font size of my pie chart. My font in Word is Times New Roman and it is size 12. But when I go to the settings and to pie charts, I want my legend font to match. At the moment it doesn't. So in order to get it to match, just like in Word, I would just have to scroll. I'll just have to scroll until I found the correct font. I'll also do that for the label. And I want to increase the font size. And I also want my labels to be inside the slice. So I deselect that. And I'll keep the label size at 10 as I do not want it to be too big. I hit OK. And now when I go back to insert a new graph, as you can see, the font has changed. It now matches with Word. But I still feel that my label size inside the pie chart is too big, as there's an overlap here now. So in order to change it, I'll go to Settings again, go to Pie Charts, and in order to have my labels fit inside the slices, I'll drop it down to 8, hit OK again, And now once I press insert, I now have a pie chart where the labels better fit in. Next we have concentration profiles, and I'll show you how to change the profile settings. So for this one here, what I want to do is I want to change the color of the percentile lines as they match with my observed data points. So I'll go to settings, to my profile format in here, percentiles, and then you can change the color of the upper and the lower percentile individually. So I'm just going to change this to a gray. What you can also do is change the color or the shape of your observed data points. So for example, here we have circles, triangle, diamonds. I'll change it to a triangle. In my example, I've got multiple different study data points. So we have different colors. You can change that here, so you can have different colors per individual, or you can have them all the same. I'm just going to keep them as different colors for now. And then again, you can change to different marker types. So here, I want triangles and diamonds. So if I hit OK on those, and now when I insert my concentration profile again, and you can see my percentile line has changed color, and my observed data points have changed from circles to triangles. Next, we'll be looking at the changes we can make to tables. That was your first option here. Tables is really quite simple. You can change the font or the font size or the alignment. So I'll just show you the quick difference. We align it to the left and we change it to Times New Roman. And I want to increase the font size a little bit. So now when I insert the new table, a quick note to finish up with is you have this help fin here. If you click on it, it will open up the Simcyp Report Assistant help file. On our table of contents, you can click on any of these and it will link you to the correct page. So for example, if you are struggling and we don't know how to open up our results database, we can just click on this here and it will give you instructions on just how to do that. If you have any specific issues that you can't resolve through the help file, don't be afraid to ask for help from the Simcyp support email. Thank you.